All right, friends, it's T, and I'm back with another video, and we're gonna do a reaction video to boost your biology. That's the name of this channel, Boost Your Biology, and yeah, I don't know, man. Let's see what he has to say.
So I've spoken about how to increase testosterone.
Wait, I forgot to read the title. Well, so this channel says how to increase androgen receptors. Okay. How to increase them. I already know how to increase them, but let's hear what he has to say on the subject in this reaction video.
Levels as high as possible naturally. Now let's take a look at how to.
Okay, this is not shutting down. I don't know why that's not closing. That's kind of weird. Just give me a second, man. Let me figure this out.
Increase androgen receptor density.
All right, sorry about that. He's going to talk about increase in androgen receptor density. Okay, yeah. They can widen and you can get more of them. Okay.
Density in the human body. So first of all, what are androgen receptors? Androgen receptors are a type of nuclear receptor that are activated by the androgenic hormones, mainly testosterone and dihydrotestosterone.
They get activated. They become activated by androgen. The androgen receptors are a type of nuclear receptor. They are activated by the androgenic hormones. Well, they bind to them. They get activated. I like this one. This is interesting. Mainly testosterone, dihydrotestosterone. That's a major builder of muscles. The major one is DHT, apparently. Okay. It's not really testosterone. People are mistaken. They think everything's testosterone. It's not. Nuclear receptors in a biological context are proteins contained in the cell that, when activated, signal to the cell to perform certain functions like up or down-regulate growth processes. Yeah, up or down-regulate growth processes. You could have catabolic hormone bind with the androgen receptor because it's competing with DHT and testosterone. Thus, you're breaking down proteins, but you can convert the catabolic hormone to an androgen, so it doesn't have to compete with the myocytic androgen receptor. So, okay, up and down deregulate growth processes, increase and decrease energy expenditure, begin apoptosis of cell division, and so forth. Cell division, apoptosis means loss of cells. Okay, whatever.
Nuclear receptors in a biological context are proteins contained in the cell that, when activated, signal to the cell to perform certain functions like up or down regulate growth processes, increase or decrease energy expenditure, begin apoptosis or cell division, and so forth. In simple terms, receptors act as lock and key mechanisms, where a very certain key open a very specific lock. The androgens are specifically made by the body to fit into the androgen receptors, which then cause changes in the body. Now, how do these androgen receptors actually work?
They do they? Wow. I'm reacting in this reaction video. Oh my gosh. I had no clue. Did you have any clue? Is that what they do? My gosh. I had no idea. This is fascinating.
In the human body. When testosterone or DHT bind to the androgen receptor, many genes are activated within the target cell.
They are?
On a macro scale, this...
Really? They are?
Manifests as sexual differentiation.
They do? My God. Beard growth, thick bones. We need thick bones, man. A strong jawline and a brow ridge. Well, I'm going to teach you how to do those things too. It's really simple. The androgen receptor, how it works, yeah. On a macro scale, this manifests as sexual differentiation. Yes, okay. I love this one. Bigger muscles and less fat, especially around the midsection. That's what the androgen receptors do. Especially when you're younger, when it's at its height, when you're still growing. But what happens when you stop growing? What happens when you're on artificial diet and it's interfering with all this, or you're more catabolic, or more, there's higher cortisol in your blood? Then what happens? See? Okay, so especially around the midsection, fat, whatever. Increased motivation for sports and intense physical activity. Of course, these are all the things that are happening when you're young. More stability and comfort in diverse social situations. Yeah, definitely. Yes, okay.
beard growth, thick bones, a strong jawline and brow ridge, bigger muscles and less fat, especially around the midsection, increased motivation for sports and intense physical activity,
Yes.
more stability and comfort in diverse social situations and conflict, and interest in sexual activity. On a micro scale, this can be seen in inhibition of stress-induced death of neurons, increases in muscle protein synthesis, and the other signaling substances involved with anabolism, increases in basal metabolic rate.
Anabolism, we like anabolism, yes. Metabolic rate, you want a low metabolic rate. You don't want a high one. That's why I put in that report in my community section. It's bunk. It's got to be a sham. It's a fraud upon the public to say that eating a low protein diet and high carbohydrate is gonna somehow extend your lifespan. It's energy. Energy food increases metabolic rate. We all know in science it says metabolic rates. Low metabolic rate is associated with longevity. Why would you want to increase your metabolic rate so you can what? Accelerate more aging? That's crazy. That's like Jason Blaha.
Lowering fat mass, activation of the production of red blood cells, and blocking of the actions of estrogen and aromatase. Now,
Really? No kidding. Are you serious? Is that what it does? God, Christ. I had no clue, man.
here's a crazy fact about androgen receptors that you probably weren't aware of.
What are they, sir? I would love to know, yes.
So this study's titled Muscle Androgen Receptor Content but Not Systemic Hormones is associated with resistance training induced skeletal muscle hypertrophy in healthy young men.
It's associated with resistance training? I had no idea. My God. You mean the muscle androgen receptor content but not systematic hormones is associated with resistance training? Wow. The receptor. Yeah, there you go. See? It's not associated with systematic hormones. Okay, not content, not systematic hormones. Wow, training induced skeletal muscle hypertrophy in healthy young men. That is just marvelous. It's the training that helps to make the androgen receptors if you're lifting weights. How about that? So if you lift weights, the androgen receptors, they'll appear or get bigger or thicker or whatever. Interesting.
So they noted that intramuscular androgen receptor content, but neither circulating nor intramuscular hormones or the enzymes regulating their intramuscular production, influence skeletal muscle hypertrophy following RET in previously trained young men.
What type of hypertrophy? It just, what? It hypertrophies what? You talking about androgen receptors are hypertrophying? They can hypertrophy too, an androgen receptor. Can you see it? Can you touch it, feel it, or see it? Hell no, you can't. But it can hypertrophy, meaning it can expand and get bigger. You see what I mean? Hypertrophy is such a wild word. People, this so-called skeletal muscle hypertrophy, whatever. Okay.
Now here's an obvious way to increase androgen receptor activity in the human body. So let's take a look at this
You know,
study.
it's funny. One place they say muscle hypertrophy, and another one they say the mass on the myofibula in science. Is it the mass on the myofibula or is it hypertrophy? I don't know. Whatever. Okay, I don't know, man. I'm so confused. Is it sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? Whatever.
It's titled High Load Resistance Exercise Augments Androgen Receptor DNA Binding and
Oh, this is interesting. High load resistance exercise augments androgen receptor DNA binding. Signaling without increases in serum muscle androgen or androgen receptor content. Oh, that's okay.
beta-catenin signaling without increases in serum muscle androgens or androgen receptor content. The authors noted that in response to resistance
Okay, I'm just joking. I've actually read all these reports previously before on androgen receptors. I read a lot of stuff on androgen receptors. I already understand the whole thing. And only one thing you need to do, and you're going to get these androgen receptors and androgens and a whole bunch of stuff is going to make you anabolic. Protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. That's it. You need to be in a positive nitrogen balance and you'll be anabolic, and these androgen receptors and lifting weights in the gym. And they will accumulate, they'll get bigger, widen, and you'll get even more stronger than the last time. They're responsible for maximum force production and motor unit proliferation, whatever.
training, androgen receptor DNA binding was significantly increased 3 hours after exercise, whereas low load training did not result in any changes.
We know that. There's a report in NCBI. It tells you bring it up. It says The myocytic androgen receptor controls the strength, but not the mass of the limb muscles. So I don't know why he's correlating muscle hypertrophy with androgen receptor, unless he's trying to say that the receptor is hypertrophying in the muscle.
In androgen receptor DNA binding. So keep in mind that high load full body exercise increases the effect your androgen receptors have on your DNA.
Yes, I know that. Full body exercises. That's why I do a full number one reason why I do full body is because that's the only time I can get the entire body to damage, and then it will repair and remodel in unison. I can't split it up because of repeat about effect phenomena. So I need to do it in one shot so that when they all get this damage, they all repair and remodel at the same time in unison. I'm able to come back and damage them with a second repeated bout after they've been repaired and remodeled. See what I mean? But if you split it up, bro splits or whatever, if you keep coming into the gym doing full body, yeah, you're not going to get this muscle damage. You may be adapted already. You may be getting some androgen receptors for more force production. That means practiced strength. That's it. It's artificial. It's fake. It's not based on your natural strength. You're doing something to induce unnatural fake strength through proliferating motor units and androgen receptors. So it's imaginary strength. You are not strong. You are strong at lifting a heavy weight. You are strong enough to lift something heavy, but your body's still weak. That's why it's going to get damaged. It's going to get broken. You're going to end up with these guys like broken knees in hospitals and whatever, lifting a heavy weight because their bodies are weak trying to lift a heavy weight. On a structure, lifting a heavy weight on a structure that can't support that weight will eventually become decrepit. When you get older, you won't be able to move, walk, and do a bunch of stuff. You're going to be all messed up. That's what's going to happen. So it's better to move for natural strength as opposed to artificial fake strength lifting by accumulating more myofibrillars and increasing your natural strength. Get it? Yeah, man.
It turns out the simplest way to increase your ARs is to just exercise intensely. Guys, listen up.
Yeah, I'm not saying they won't accumulate by exercising intensely in an adapted state with no more muscle damage, and there's not going to be any more growth, unless you can get growth if protein synthesis exceeds that breakdown. But how many people are eating like that? And that too will also increase more of these androgen receptors, the androgens, and convert the catabolic hormone to an androgen so it doesn't compete with the myocytic androgen receptor, giving you more force production. Jesus.
I'm sure you're aware of the importance of personalization when it comes to optimizing your health. That is why I'm offering a free 15-minute boost.
You can read in my community section. I just posted some stuff there. It says nitrogen balance makes you anabolic. Okay, what is that? Protein. How does protein make you anabolic? When protein synthesis exceeds breakdown. That's all. Means positive nitrogen balance. Read it and you'll understand it. Trust me.
Biology strategy session with a senior member of my team where we'll chart out a personalized plan for success so that you stop guessing when it comes to different supplements, diets, training, and lifestyle strategies. So be sure to check that link out in the video description down below. Now, there is indeed hope if you have low testosterone and low androgen receptor density. This study is titled
Low androgen and low receptor density. It's easy. Be in a positive nitrogen balance. It's easy. Protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. When it does, you become anabolic, meaning positive nitrogen balance. Anabolic. So what does it do? It suppresses the catabolic hormone. It converts the catabolic hormone to an androgen, so it doesn't have to compete with the myocytic androgen receptor. And thus, no more breakdown. You're building up. Now you're building. You're not breaking anymore down. You're building constantly. There's nothing interfering. There's no catabolic hormone or cortisol interfering with the building process of the muscle and these androgen receptors and giving you more force production and building more mass on the myofibrillar. Okay, man, it's really simple, dude.
Experience alters brain androgen receptor expression dependent on testosterone status. What they basically noted...
When it's not competing, though, the testosterone's going to be high because there's no competition with the androgen receptor. So why do you need to worry about that?
Was There is hope if you have low testosterone and low androgen receptor density.
If you have low testosterone, low androgen density, whatever, man, it's because you're either eating an artificial diet or you're not doing very specific things, okay? And anyways, if you eat your natural diet and just be natural, not lift any weights, everything's going to be working naturally anyways. But they want you to go to the gym because, oh, you need to go to the gym to increase your testosterone. You need to increase this and that. Why is it low to begin with? Because you can't stop eating your drug addict diet. Carbohydrate, sugar, man-made, drug addiction diet, dude. Get it? If you get off your drugs, eating drugs all day, then your testosterone and everything will go back to normal if you eat your natural diet. But you can't stop eating drugs because you're addicted.
Stacking wins in your life has significant effects on the expression of the androgen receptor. Now let's have a look at an incredibly potent androgenic food that you probably weren't aware of.
Yeah, what is a potent androgenic food that we weren't aware of? Please tell me, because I just posted in my community section, please.
So this study is titled Oyster Peptide Prevents the Occurrence of Exercise Hypogonadal Male Condition by Improving the Function of Pituitary Gonadal Axis in Male Rats.
Okay, I like oysters, but guess what? If you don't eat enough of them, if protein synthesis does not exceed breakdown, you will not be in a positive nitrogen balance. I can prove everything I say. It's in my community section, bro. I just posted this, and you'll probably understand this. Where are we? This section right here. The concept of nitrogen balance is that the difference between nitrogen intake and loss reflects gain or loss in total body protein. If more nitrogen protein is given to the patient than loss, the patient is considered to be what? Anabolic, or in positive nitrogen balance. See that, dude? And how do you accomplish that? It's really easy. What are the foods that accomplish this? It's really simple. Foods that are high in nitrogen include high protein and high purine products like meat, seafood, and organ meat. Yeah, man, you see that? The body commonly gets nitrogen from amino acids and make up protein. There you go. Okay, man? And nitrogen-rich foods include meat such as pork, beef, pork, and poultry. Okay, man? I don't know why they put fruits and vegetables in there. That's just bullshit. But whatever. They always put that. These people trying to fake you out. So that's how you're anabolic. It even tells you, it says negative balance indicates a catabolic state. The positive nitrogen balance indicates a anabolic state. That means you're growing muscles. But if you're catabolic, if you have cortisol anywhere in your blood, you're never building muscle. That's why you're a hard gainer. That's why you're reached your natty genetic limit and whatever else you're talking about there. Because all you people are lazy. You got your newbie gains in the beginning because you got muscle damage, but then you became adapted. You never even moved for more muscle damage. And you're not eating more. You're not in a positive nitrogen balance, and all this bunch of stuff. But anyways, let's go back to the video.
So they basically noted that conversely, when oyster peptide was supplemented at heavy load training, sperm count, sperm viability, and sperm motility in...
Okay, that I've known that for decades. This is not something new. Even these stupid Japanese wrestlers, they eat a lot of this stuff. They're super big, whatever, oysters, yes.
Didymus, serum, FSH, LH, testosterone, GSH...
I happen to eat a lot of oysters myself. I eat smoked canned oysters, but sometimes if I can get them at the market now, I think they're like 89 cents per oyster right now. I can get them right now for 89 cents. But it's a lot of work to keep opening them and making them and opening them and making them. So sometimes if I can get them, I buy them in those little cans. They're smoked, whatever. They're done already for me. So yeah.
HPX, superoxide dismutase, testosterone, androgen receptor in testis and mating times were dramatically increased, while testicular MDA capture latency and mating latency were significantly decreased. Now let's have a look at how everyone is currently...
Yes, on your high protein diet, you can add that additionally to it. Like I just read you. You can add this additionally if it does all that. That would be nice. But if there's not enough, if you're just relying on that and you're not eating other food to spare that, then that could be used as energy, and then it's worthless. Okay, it's just worthless.
Destroying their androgen receptor
Your
density.
body requires a lot of energy, okay? It requires a lot of energy. And to build muscle requires a shitload of energy. That's why you have to be in a positive nitrogen balance. It means energy. You have to be in this positive energy state, dude. And it has to be protein and high nutrient diet, which is protein, meat. Yeah.
Without even realizing. Now, this is a commonly used medication that we see many individuals using to relieve pain and reduce any sort of pain signaling in the human body. Ibuprofen alters human testicular physiology to produce a state of compensated hypogonadism. So basically, the ubiquitous pain medication ibuprofen causes hypogonadism. This study shows that ibuprofen use results in selective transcriptional repression of endocrine cells in the human testes. Keeping androgen
No, really? You don't say. How about that, eh? Man, come on.
high is also important for the androgen receptors. Now let's have a look at what keeps these androgen receptors working sufficiently and optimally. So this study is titled Mechanism of Androgen Receptor Augmentation, Analysis of Receptor Synthesis and Degradation by the Density Shift Technique. Now the authors of this study noted that androgen-induced androgen receptor augmentation is explained by an increase both in receptor half-life and in rates of receptor synthesis. Now keep in mind that one of the main mechanisms for keeping the ARs working is simply using them. Now, let's have a look at a potent supplement.
That's a good one. In order to keep them, you got to keep using them to keep them busy, keep them working. No, really, you don't say. I don't know. What if you're eating your natural diet and you're not all messed up eating a fake diet that's like poison and toxic? Will they be functioning? Yeah, they'll be functioning normal. There's nothing inhibiting you. Your testosterone is going to be around the 1200 mark. 1,200, 1,200, okay? Between, I'd say, 900 and 1,200 if you're on your natural human diet, which is carnivore, whatever you want to call it, diet. Okay, dude? So that's what you're going to experience. Thus, the androgen receptors are also going to be a lot higher. That's why all you think you're weak. You all think you're weak because when you check your testosterone, because you're on a drug addict diet, you can't stop eating these carb drugs. Your testosterone is 250, maybe 300. Therefore, your androgen receptors are reduced, and so is your testosterone DHT. And then your PP smaller, and your testicles are smaller because they're not producing, dude. You understand me, man? It's really simple. It's not hard to figure this stuff out. But when you go back on your natural diet, there's nothing interfering there. Get it? So it's able to go back to normal, to be functioning normal and not in a domesticated state. If you keep eating these foods, you're domesticated. That's the domestication part. Now, there's another domestication part. I didn't say in my other videos. I kind of mentioned this, how they domesticate humans with an artificial diet, artificial environment, and your artificial wife. Because they're marrying you for money purposes because they're scared. They're not marrying you because it's instinctual thing. I want to marry you and breed with you. We're going to make amazing babies. But then again, there's these people, they say they run through these chads. So maybe, who knows? They run through the chads and then they look for these guys who will support the kids. Because that's what they've been talking about recently on the internet. They say, well, maybe we've gone back to, maybe we're not totally, how should I put it, been domesticated. Maybe because we're running, the chads are running through the women, us chads. And then these losers, they're taking care of our kids for us. So the losers are not having the kids. So maybe, who knows? Maybe that's sustaining us, society. Who the hell knows?
Something known as L-carnitine that I've personally used over the years to upregulate androgen.
Yeah, L-carnitine is found in natural human diet. Why do you need a supplement?
Receptor density. Now, this study is titled Androgenic Responses to Resistance Exercise.
I just told you, when you're in an anabolic growth state, it means positive nitrogen balance. They explain to you these amino acids. They're at sky level, sky high, and carnitine happens to be one of them. That's why they create the androgen. They help to create these androgen receptors. They widen them, and you get more of them.
Effects of
for binding purposes.
feeding and L-carnitine. The key takeaways from this study was that feeding or eating after a workout compared to drinking water.
Yeah, I know this already. This people know this already. And then before you go to sleep, they tell you to take casein, some fake powder casein. What do you mean casein? Eat meat, bro. Eat your natural diet. Stop eating fake stuff.
Increases androgen receptor content, which may result in increased testosterone uptake and thus enhanced luteinizing hormone
Yeah, see what he said? If you increase the AR androgen receptor, what does it do? It increases testosterone uptake, right? So when we're in an anabolic growth state, we've already shut off the catabolic hormone. The uptake is all there for all the hormones. The androgen receptor is going to widen automatically because we're going to be able to haul heavier weight. If we could haul heavier weight, then the androgen receptor will widen even more and give us more androgen receptors for those hormones to bind, because there may not be enough space in those ones. They can only widen so much. Get it, dude? That's what happens.
secretion, and that L-carnitine supplementation upregulated androgen receptor content, which may promote recovery after resistance exercise. Now let's spice things up a little bit and have a look at a particular compound known as capsaicin.
Yeah, protein will, help you with recovery, definitely. Being in anabolic growth state.
Which is what makes peppers spicy, which has also been found to directly increase the expression of androgen receptors. Let's take a
No, it's toxic, and it's kind of doing something bad to the androgen receptor, causing it to do something. I wouldn't eat any of that. Don't listen to this guy.
look at this study here. Capsaicin, a component of
No,
red
stay
peppers,
away from that.
on androgen receptor expression. Now this
What? Coffee? Forget caffeine? Are you kidding me, man? More toxic stuff, bro. Don't listen to this guy. Chronic caffeine intake increases androgenic stimuli. No, man. Protein synthesis does, okay? A positive nitrogen balance does, okay, dude? Proliferation and hyperplasia in rat. Ventral prostate. Well, we don't want that. We don't want our prostate getting bigger, whatever.
study is titled Chronic Caffeine Intake Increases Androgenic Stimuli.
not
When looking at the
interested in
prostate, found that it increased androgenicity across the board.
Yeah,
now let's have a
man.
look at a strangely clear
Of course it did, because it's causing damage in your body, so it's increasing these things.
study. This study is titled Rapid Increase in the Number of Androgen Receptors Following Electrical Stimulation of the Rat Muscle.
Okay, I've heard of this. They stimulate you with some electrical pulses to increase it. But this is just garbage.
What they
It's transient, it's temporary.
noted on this study is that rats, when their muscle was stimulated electrically, showed significant increases in muscle mass and
Yeah, but we're not rats, and we're not going to stimulate our muscles like this, okay, with electrical shocking to increase the AR. Give me a break.
androgen receptor density after multiple days. Consistently exercising is a critical component of raising and maintaining the count and function of the androgen.
Yeah, exercise does that. Why does it do that? Think about it. If I work in a factory, a very difficult job in a factory, why would it raise the AR count? I'm busy lifting stuff, or I'm hunting in nature, doing something, moving boulders, or I don't know what. Why is it doing that? Because it has to. It has to do that. It's not gonna build you muscle, because it needs to carry you through a famine. So it's gonna give you more of these AR receptors and a bunch of stuff, man, for more force production instead of you building muscle and using natural weight, because it's gotta carry you through a famine. It's really simple.
Receptors. So here are the key points. Androgen receptors work by the use it or lose it principle, which means that anything that raises and maintains
I've mentioned this before. If you don't use it, you lose it. That's why it's fake. But if I build myofibrillars which melt into each other, you don't see them damaged anymore. It tells you in science, these cells, they amalgamate together. They look like normal fibers. They can't tell the difference in a CT scan. So when you build more myofibrillars, they're permanent. So if you use them, you don't lose them. They're always there, the density. The density is always there. But the mass of the myofibrillar, now you will lose the mass eventually with time if you don't keep that, how should I put it? If you don't keep a net positive level to maintain that mass eating food. But sometimes you're drinking alcohol, partying with your friends, you're not eating, going home. It's kind of like, let's just say you went away somewhere and you're busy having a good time, a good life or whatever. You know what I mean? You built yourself already and everything, blah, you have all this mass. But you may lose it over time if you don't maintain it with what? Food. It's not maintained by lifting weights, the mass on the myofibrillar. It's maintained by food. And if you don't eat enough food, that mass will go away. It will go away. It doesn't go away because you're maintaining it lifting a weight. Lifting weights don't maintain mass. Lifting weights increase catabolic hormones. It increases cortisol and it actually breaks down proteins. Remember, it breaks proteins down when you lift weights in the gym. Hello.
Contains high levels of androgens, will raise androgen receptor density and activity. Eating oysters, spicy food, and drinking coffee are some specific foods to raise androgen receptor density and activity.
Okay, I go with the oysters, but not the spicy shit and the coffee, dude. The poison, the toxicity.
Movement, especially high-intensity hard training, is a surefire way to boost the androgen receptors.
Yeah, of course, it'll do that. You can also stand under heavy weight. Just stand still, count to 3, 4, 500, and non-stop by letting a shitload of weight rest on your shoulders, pressing you down. This will increase the androgen receptors. It's a known fact too.
Carnitine combined with exercise has positive effects beyond each of them alone. So that pretty much wraps up today's video on increasing androgen receptor density. If you have any questions about this particular topic, leave it down below. Let's get a discussion going. And if you do enjoy my content,
that was interesting. Okay.
Please do consider joining trtfree.com. Go to that website and join that.
It's all about selling you fake stuff, more artificial things called TRT and blah, blah, blah. Selling you products like carnitine. He wants to sell you on caffeine. And then he wants to sell you on this spicy stuff or something else, or I don't know, man, some supplement. Can I tell you it's going to increase this myocytic androgen receptor? And in the end, it's never going to work for you. None of you people, it's never going to work for you doing these things if you don't do it properly.
Testosterone optimization protocol that is something that I've developed to support men.
Here's the thing, if you're on a carnivore diet, why is everybody's testosterone at 1200, but everybody eating a fake carbohydrate drug addict diet, their testosterone is plummeted to 275, 300 or whatever? Why is it so low, man? Why is it so low? You want to know why? Because you're on a fake drug addict diet. So that's why you need TRT, okay? Because you want to continue in that behavior. Now, once you cancel that behavior and go back to your natural behavior in nature, if you behave properly like a good little boy in nature, your testosterone is going to go back to normal and you're not going to need any TRT. Okay, dude?
In boosting their testosterone levels as high as possible naturally. So that's trtfree.com. Be sure to check that out.
Okay.
Otherwise, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.
Yes, me too, man. I look forward to seeing all of you in my next video. Tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel, comment down below. Yeah, tell me what you think about that androgen receptor stuff, dude. Did I not explain it well enough to you people to understand how to increase these androgen receptors? It's very simplistic. Money is going to build your body. It's going to build those androgen receptors and everything. If you don't have money to eat, then none of these things are going to come to fruition. You're going to have to do all these fake things like he mentioned in the video. The coffee, the oyster maybe, the this, the that, the do. And it's never really going to work for any of you. Get it? It's never going to work for any of you. You just keep failing. You'll just keep failing at it, and it'll diminish you slowly. Eating the carbohydrate drug addict diet, dude. It'll diminish you. It'll finish you in the end. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao, friends.